Hello, everyone. Welcome to the contributors meeting. I'm going to be your host today. I'm Leo, and starting with triage and discussions. Last week we had Alex and Dan. I see Alex in the call. Are the topics in the doc from you, Alex?
No,
Okay,
maybe this one,
so
Dan.
Dan is not in the call. Okay, from you, Alex, anything you wanted to bring from last week?
No.
Okay. All right. Um, so Dan is not here. Maybe what we can do, we can move on to the discussion part, and when he joins, we get back to that. Before that, let's pick up the next person to do triage the coming week. Any volunteers in the call? We need one primary and one secondary.
I can go for secondary if you want.
Okay, thank you, Nitish. Here you are. Any volunteers for primary? Okay, can take it and let's move on. Okay, I see, and I see you added a few topics here, Nitish. There's a bunch of text here. So starting off with the first one. So you're basically asking about the Argo CD admin command and how it works with our applications in any namespace. So can you maybe elaborate a bit more on the ask here?
Oh, sure. So I have been working on adding the unit test for Argo CD admin export command and specifically for the applications and namespace feature. If you look at the second point, which it specifically says about the application namespaces documentation, I don't know. I can be wrong here, but from reading the application namespaces documentation, I thought that uh, only those applications are going to get exported that are present in the namespaces specified by this flag and not in Argo CD namespace. That was my assumption. Please correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah,
Um,
I think that's wrong. The You always need to export the self namespace application.
okay.
So it's basically the apps in any namespace flags. So that flag should be the same value as you have specified when you use apps in any namespace. So you have the self control plane namespace and the other namespace that Argo manage.
So all the applications are going to get exported in the Argo CD namespace. And if you want to export applications from other namespace, then you would have to use this application namespace flag. Is that correct?
Yeah, really to mimic the feature of the apps in any namespace.
Um, o- okay.
But Nitish, do you have a requirement that uh, demands that you export just the applications from the specified namespaces?
Not exactly. Not a, I just thought like I was just confused with the documentation for this, and I think that might have been improved. I don't know if someone else has come across this confusion, but for me it was just a confusion. I thought the only applications in those namespaces are going to be exported and not the control plane namespace if we use that flag. So probably if something we would want to maybe if like modifying the documentation for this flag to make it more clear, if that's something we want to do. Otherwise, I think it's all good now.
If you were confused, I think other people may get confused as well. So if you feel like pushing a PR to briefly explain it better, yeah, we
Sure.
can quickly review it.
Okay, got it, got it.
All right, is that it for the first topic, Nitish?
Yes, that's it.
Okay, next one, plugin PR.
Yes. So I think this PR has been open for a long time. Leo has already approved this PR. I'm still waiting for Blake to review this, but I think Blake is busy with some work happening around. So I just need someone probably who can go through this PR. Docs have been added and just test it out there and see if there's something needs to be changed. Personally, I was thinking if we can include that in version 3.0, which I think may be a good addition for Argo CD version 3.0, since we're also presenting the a lightning talk at ArgoCon EU as well on the same topic. So just need one more review, and then I think we can get this moving forward.
I think this was just this wasn't merged yet, just because Blake still had a few comments. If he can just take a quick look there and approve, we can merge it. So on the merge ask, I think it's simple. Including that on the 3.0, then I'll open for other folks in the call. That I know that was the branch was cut already, and this is a new feature. So how do you all feel about that?
Think that our usual policy is that we introduce new features in the next minor. I'm not sure whether this case is different. I mean, it is a new feature, right?
Yep.
Yes. So I think unless someone objects, I believe this would be a good candidate for 3.1.
Yeah, according to current policy, indeed, it seems like it should be in 3.1. But I'm curious about the policy, like why don't we add new features like cherry picked into a minor release usually?
Think
No,
that
and I can understand like some reasoning that maybe it's a bit more conservative approach where we want a bit more stability, but also like releases happen every 3 months, which is kind of slow. So I wonder, shall we revisit this policy in general?
Yeah, I also don't like we're going from 2.14 to 3.0, and we originally were going to go to 2.15, so it would have been in 2.15, but not in 3.0. It does seem weird that and also we're trying to put OCI support in 3.0, like native OCI support in 3.0 as well. So like that's also a new feature. So are we waiting for 3.1 for OCI? Like yeah, like it just
I,
it
I
just seems
guess
odd.
I guess the only concern with 3.0 is because the branch is already cut, right? We already cut the branch, and the features that are in that branch are the ones planned for 3.0. That's
Yeah.
why I think Reggie is suggesting to move this to 3.1 because the PR is not merged yet.
Looking at the files, it's very unlikely that this is gonna destabilize the RC because it's like two Go files. It's actually one Go file. So I think it's fine to like we're early in the RC process. It's a new feature. I don't think that's gonna cause big issues, in my opinion.
Okay,
Uh,
I reviewed this. I mean, it was a thorough review I had with Nitish and Blake. I also think this is not gonna impact any internal core functionality of Argo CD. It basically touches the CLI. But even that, we took precaution to do it in a safe way. I'm not saying it's bug free. Nothing is bug free. But I also agree that the risk here is low, but there's always a risk. So I'm opening for other maintainers. Um, what do you think about including this in 3.0? Well, sorry, in 3.0.
What was the Christian? You were saying that OCI wasn't merged yet.
Yeah, I don't know, it's not. So I think it's still in a work in progress. I think it just needs a few reviews. I think Michael Crenshaw also was looking at it.
Reggie, was that trying to be added to the 3.0 release?
I don't think that this was not to my knowledge, this was not something initially planned. I mean, we always have the things that are like kind of planned ahead. And for 3.0, the list of the issues that were planned ahead, I think, was much bigger than the list for previous minor releases.
Yeah.
But there always is work that is happening, and PRs are getting merged even like in a routine way.
Okay, so it's not like so right now we're not planning to merge any features into 3.0 that aren't already merged, including OCI support.
Basically, if we stick to the default policy that we have, that once a release, even a pre-release, has been cut, then subsequent RCs are gonna just address the fixes or urgent security bumps that were that happened in the meantime, and this was mostly the case. I think that maybe with 3.0, since it is already a breaking changes version, and it is a major version, that I believe that there are less users now who are trying 3.0 first RC than users who are usually trying any minor RC. Then maybe this case can be more flexible, and I don't know, maybe we should enter features that were not part of the initial RC, but that we're sure that are stable or not, and are not going to endanger any core functionality. Maybe this should be the way. I think it's an open question.
Yeah, like I'd be a lot less comfortable trying to add in OCI right now, right? Because like that's a pretty big impactful change. There's a lot of core components that touches, and so since you've already kicked off RC, I think that would be, in general, you don't add any, right? But so I would be a lot more hesitant to add that one. I guess people are saying that because this is a CLI plugin extension, they feel like it's pretty low risk because it's a new API essentially that we're adding. I know it's not actually an API, but like, so I guess it's borderline. It's on the bubble. I get the point of trying to push it out with this, but it is also still not merged. So until it's merged, it's almost a moot point.
Yeah, also, I'm thinking also, now that I think about it, there's no like pressing reason to add this feature. I mean, versus OCI, even you know, like you can make the case of OCI because of the pressing feature, but that is still a work in progress. So I understand a 3.1 there, but there's no pressing reason. I mean, it is very low risk. I mean, I can see the argument either way, to be honest with you.
Leo, to get it merged, are you hoping to get another review on it from another maintainer, or are you ready to merge it?
I don't think that is required. Of course, if someone wants to take another look, it's feel free to do so, and we can wait for that additional review. My point is, I thorough reviewed this already with Nitish. This was a lengthy review. Blake was there as well. So there's a since day one, and from what it is right now, it's night and day. I think the quality of that PR is following the standards we have in the project right now. And I'm comfortable for going ahead and merging it. I didn't do it because Blake participated in that PR, and I wanted him to get it approved as well. So that's the only reason I didn't click the merge button. Um, so if Blake tells me that he's okay with that, he takes maybe 10 minutes look in that PR and says it's okay, I think we can merge, unless someone else wants to take another look.
As far as cherry picking goes, I think the way we should evaluate it is based on how we would like the next release cycle to go in terms of our maintenance effort. My feeling is that there are enough breaking changes in 3.0 that we're going to be spending a lot of time just communicating with users, trying to help them understand how to upgrade their config. And personally, I wouldn't want the additional load of dealing with support that comes with merging OCI, for example. Plugins, I think people kind of have to opt into that experience. The code looks very separate from everything else. So I don't see that introducing a lot of support load that's going to take away from the 3.0 breaking changes support.
Yeah. The only downside I would see to putting it into 3.0 really at this point is that you'll have to do a little bit extra marketing work to celebrate the feature, because it's not in the RC. Like, I could update the blog post to include it, but a lot of people are already reading it. But whereas if it's in 3.1, it might be viewed as a more important feature that gets kind of more top billing. But we can also revisit it in the 3.1 blog post too and shout it again.
It's like I don't know. I'm probably leaning a little bit more towards not cherry picking it. I'll explain why. Like, technically, I think low risk and like shouldn't be an issue, but the other is like I think just like in the future we may start to like having more and more of those discussions of, hey, somebody missed the branch cut by a little bit. Like I can see myself, for example, like also like trying to advocate to merge some feature, and like again, if you like say that it's okay, then we would have like more and more of those cases in the future where like it's kind of borderline and we need to decide, and like and each exception would require a bit of extra work on marketing and etc. So instead, I would actually want to propose, how difficult would it be to, instead of doing like minor release every 3 months, do it like maybe every like 2 months?
Yeah, I feel like this is another discussion, Andrew. I would what I'd like to ask is, Nitish and Christian, as you are the drivers for this feature, how do you feel about Dan's comment about the marketing part? I think that's an important topic. Are you okay with having less impact, if including this now as the blog post is already out? Or you maybe want to have a more impactful marketing on top of this feature and wait for 3.0? I think it's a fair question.
Yeah, that's a fair
Christian?
question. Actually, I think I'm indifferent. I don't mind not having the marketing impact. So I think I'll leave that to Nitish. I think yeah, I don't think
Okay,
I'm actually
Nitish.
now indifferent. Yeah, now I think I'm indifferent whether it be 3.0 or 3.1. So Nitish, I don't know if you have any opinion on the marketing aspect. I don't necessarily care. I mean, it'd be nice, but I don't necessarily care about that impact. But it might be a big enough. We can make a big enough boom for 3.1. Nitish, do you have any comments?
I think I'm not sure about that, but I think if we somehow plan to get it in 3.0, like Dan mentioned, maybe we can put that in 3.0 blog and then in the 3.1 to just highlight the feature if we want to. That's one way which I think is. And if I think if we don't want to go with that, I'm okay with then shifting it to the next release for that.
You
But
said
personally,
you said you have
sorry.
a talk at ArgoCon based on this?
Yes, yeah, exactly. Lightning talk at ArgoCon EU around this plugin support. We are presenting the demo entirely. So just wanted people to
So if you
maybe
have a talk, maybe it makes sense to include that in 3.0.
yeah, that's what I was thinking. That's the personal reason that I had, that I want this to be included in 3.0 because it has already got one approval and we basically need one more approval to get it merged. But
So I would suggest you guys go through the process of getting it merged, and that it sounds like people are pretty good about feel decent about cherry picking it in, assuming that that process doesn't take too long. So if you guys take 2 weeks to finish getting it merged, then it's going to be probably a different discussion. But if you guys get Blake to get his eye on it today, and you guys get it merged, then I don't think Reggie, Michael, do you guys have any issue cherry picking it?
Nope, I think good idea.
Yeah.
Christian,
Nothing to
Nitish, how do you feel about Blake having a final look at this today?
I mean, I'm okay with Blake having a final look. It's just that Blake is BCM, so I'm already bugging him up to please take a look at the PR. But if
Yeah,
he doesn't have the time, anyone can take a look and let me know.
I'll ping Blake. I'll have a conversation with Blake. I know he's kind of tapped, but I'll see if I can get some cycles out of him.
And Leo, I know you want Blake's eyes on it. I would just, if you really need him to look at particular things as sort of a blocker to the PR, then go ahead and block it. But if you just want to make sure he generally agrees with the direction or doesn't see anything super scary, I would just make that clear to Blake so that he knows how much work he's actually expected to put into it.
Okay, I'll drop him a line as well on Slack. Yeah, good point. Okay, I guess we have a plan. Let's see how that goes. Cool. Thank you, Nitish. Thanks, everyone. Next topic.
Oh, actually,
Henry.
let's go to issue triage. Dan is here and he
Dan
wants
is
to
back. You're
cover
right.
some.
You're right.
Yeah.
Thanks for the reminder. So Dan, I think it was you who added those
Yeah,
topics.
sorry, I should have put my name on them. So yeah, there's just two issues that I flagged. One is related to helm values not showing up correctly, and this one is specifically related to crashing the page when sending a helm object. So Ruby RC has been putting together a pull request here, and it also touches on an older issue about how values are displayed. And there are scenarios where I guess Helm override values are not displayed correctly in the UI, and so people will think that their Helm chart isn't deployed correctly. But I think it's purely a UI issue. So if there's a chance for people to take a look at that pull request, it's kind of bubbling up a lot of stuff. So it seems like it actually would solve multiple issues from what I can tell.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So is someone already reviewing this?
No, that's not the issue. If you go back, that's a related issue. If you go back to the doc,
the doc.
yeah, you can see the pull request is that 22368. I haven't had a chance to look at it yet, but since it was resolving a couple of issues that have come up recently, I thought it'd be worth to flag in this meeting if anybody has a chance to go through and look at it, because they're actually it's a little bit hairy of a change, just because they need to bubble up and change the way that some of these values were handled. And I think she actually tagged. I think Ruby tagged some commits that were part of the culprits for this bug, but it's related to a long-standing bug as well. So it's a new bug as well as a long-standing bug. So
my initial reactions are, one, a lot of React. We probably want the front end dev to take a look. Two, on some of the merged logic, I think we want unit tests. I think that we're trying to mimic Helm's behavior when it merges multiple values files. And to do that, we need to make sure that our merge algorithm actually behaves like Helm's does. So it looks like we're using a Lodash library. I have no idea how that compares to how Helm applies overlays. So at the very least, we want unit tests so that if we see issues, we can iterate and fix and make it align more with how Helm behaves. But those are the main two things I'd want to see out of this PR.
Okay, good comments. I'll if you have a chance to add those comments in, that'd be great. Otherwise, I'll try to do it in a minute.
I'll add them.
Thank you. And then the other issue that came up in triage is in 2.14.6 context menus were broken. So this looks like just a straight up regression where downgrading to 2.14.5 fixed the issue. And Caberjack did do a little bit of homework to try to find the commit at fault in 2.14.6. So anytime we have regressions, I always want to flag those for us to be mindful of.
And I think Ryan's about to have that one run to ground.
Oh,
We're
sweet.
Yeah, I
close to being on that.
just reproduced it locally, so now it's just debugging it.
Yeah, Ryan, just for your knowledge, I was a little bit suspicious of maybe the inference logic in populating the app destination field could be somehow related. But anyhow, I'll keep
Yeah,
looking
that's
for
a
it
good
as well.
shout.
Okay, there are lots of discussion already going on here.
Perfect.
So, okay, cool. Thanks a lot, everyone. Any other topic you want to highlight for triage and then?
Nope, that's it. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Andrew.
Yeah. So I wanted to take a look at several like long-standing issues raised by people. So one, I think we like briefly touched based a couple of meetings ago, basically sharding application controller by application or project. So right now it's sharded by cluster, but like sometimes like people just have one cluster, and like managing multiple clusters may not be as trivial. And like basically the question is, do we wanna like allow to shard by application or by project, so that like each replica handles like some subset of like projects. But the challenges are that a lot of logic right now is kind of like assuming a cluster. So for example, takes a cluster lock, like maintains cluster state, and like there can be like moves between projects and moves between apps of resources. So I just want to see if it's like something we consider doing, or we just say that, hey, we like just take beefier instances, like run one instance of like controller if you just have one cluster.
What will that fix? Like, why would you shard like this? What would you improve? What's the gain out of that?
Like basically you can like you can get smaller instances of like Argo CD controller. You can have more of the instances. So basically you can have like maybe a little bit more fault tolerance. Although not that it's honestly in practice it's not a big issue.
I don't know.
But
Smaller
imagine like you just have a
in which
huge
context?
cluster and then like application controller doesn't keep up. Like one instance is just like too small to like to manage it. At the same time, I know that like application controller has a bunch of routines for like refresh queue processing, for like operation queue processing, and you can like tune that and like increase that as well. So as long as you like have like beefy enough instances, I think you're fine. But like at least like in terms of like medium-sized clusters in our company, it's okay. Like, and then we have like some wiggle room. But if it's like I don't know if it's like a huge cluster, imagine like it has like 100K resources, then I don't know, would it scale?
The bulk of the work that the app controller does is cluster scoped. So breaking that into application or project size increments is very, very non-trivial. I think that work put into sharding improvements is relatively high cost, low reward. I think that the lower cost approaches would be just improving the performance of GitOps engine, using smarter ways of caching, just getting rid of inefficiencies in the code. I think that that's going to provide a lot more benefits.
Yeah, and I think that there is like, you know, if you look at how the application controller works, right, it goes to the Kubernetes API and watches everything. And now what happens if you have two application controllers going to the same Kubernetes API and watching everything, right? Just to have it chart out on applications.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if, you know, like you swap in a whole lot of other problems with that. But nevertheless, I can, you know, I know this requirement, and quite a couple of people I talked to in the past, you know, would love to see sharding on application, like have more than one controller manage applications on the same cluster. Because, like, as you mentioned, like, people are talking about fault tolerance, right? Like, right now you have, like, if your application controller goes down for whatever reason, then the applications that were managed by it basically are orphan, right? So
Yeah.
it's definitely a tough
Yeah.
topic.
Yeah, I see the problem. Yeah, I guess that's fair. I can probably reply something like, if somebody is willing to submit a formal proposal with like all the like, or I don't know, or like, is it like kind of hopeless to try to do so?
Well, in theory, people can do something like this already, just with a little bit of a dirty workaround, I guess. But yeah, I think a proposal would be a very well worked out proposal, I guess.
I see. Okay,
something
I'll
to
reply.
discuss, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I would reply on those. So I will say that, yeah, it seems like unlikely, but if you like feel very strongly and like maybe have a good proposal about all the like these tricky cases with like how to move from cluster scope to non-cluster scope, we can like discuss. And also fun interesting thing I just realized, there are cluster scoped resources.
First thing, I think it's not to write the proposal from the technical point of view on how to do it, but more like why to do it. Like fault tolerance, it's a very good argument. If you have a controller that goes down, you cannot sync a chunk of the apps. But write a proposal and how do we fix that problem? Not how do we implement sharding, per applications.
I see. Okay. Sounds good.
Do we have an issue or some discussion going on about the changes that we can make in GitOps engine to like address this in another way?
I don't have one. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't like so yeah, to be fair, I mostly just I just like looked into those issues, and so like I didn't like put as much like effort, I guess, as like as possible into like trying to solve issue in other ways. But I can take a look. Like basically I just optimizations is one of my specialties, so I can try to take another look at GitOps engine then, and let's see if anything can be optimized there.
Two things I'd recommend looking at, Andrew, are one, switching from JSON serialization to protobuf serialization. Someone already took a whack at it. The code just seemed to not work, but I think that would be a relatively easy win. The other is using the watch API to load the initial cluster state instead of the list API. There's a new Kubernetes feature that ships by default now that allows you to retrieve the initial state as events instead of doing paginated JSON lists.
Interesting.
Yep, both of those have code already associated with them. They just need some love.
I see.
I think that if we're able to combine for 3.1 the merging of the GitOps engine into Argo CD, and then on top having this one, I think this would be like really great and valuable. I think it will make a lot of people happy.
I see. So for GitOps engine, like, are we like 99% sure nobody else is gonna use it? Like, that it's just Argo CD thing?
Yeah, this was discussed in the past, and we already made the decision, Andrew. Yes,
Okay.
we're gonna move that in Argo City.
Okay.
I
I think I
worked on
saw some
that,
draft
and
PR. Yeah.
there's some remaining work to be done, but the PR is out. I just need more time.
Oh, okay.
Okay, next topic.
Yeah.
Application migration across
Yeah,
clusters.
yeah. Basically, like the issue there is like apparently when you have like like maybe two different controllers or like just one controller trying to process two different shards, there is like edge case when application is not like maybe moved out of one cluster and like not moved in into a new cluster, and there can be some sort of like race condition. Um, so I wonder like how can we like potentially like simplify it and like maybe make it consistent. For example, what could happen is like like application already deletes resources from like old cluster, but it's not created in a new cluster yet. And since we like have this like clustering by or sharding by like cluster, then like there is like limited possibility of how these controllers can interact. It's just each controller is just doing their job. So I wonder, is it even like a right approach to do this migration, or should people just create a copy of application first, like deploy that, like redirect traffic to there, and then like remove it? In other words, is it like just not a simple thing you can do, or like is there something we can do to support this better?
So this is a very old issue, and yeah, I haven't participated in this discussion myself. I don't know. Maybe we need a proposal for that. I don't know how others feel about it.
My feeling is just as with cluster bootstrapping, this use case is infrequent enough that it doesn't merit a whole lot of our time and attention. If someone comes up with a really beautiful proposal that just solves this, not much code, not much API changes, great. But if not, I don't see this as being worth a whole lot of our time.
I see.
Makes sense. Yeah, I agree.
Okay. All right, and then more knobs for rollback. Basically, like there are a couple of use cases here. Like for example, rollback apparently doesn't run hooks, and sometimes we will have some jobs in hooks they want to run. And I think there's been something else.
I thought a rollback was just a sync under the hood. I'm surprised that it doesn't run hooks.
I don't know. Maybe it has changed, but apparently it's like pretty recent comment here.
I mean, I'd try to reproduce it.
Maybe we need to figure out why the hooks were excluded in the first place. Because if you have a DB migration as part of the hooks and then you try to roll back, maybe that's not gonna work.
Yeah, rollback
Yeah,
with
also,
prune, that's interesting.
and also apparently you cannot prune stuff. So yeah. I'm not very familiar with also like why this happened, but yeah, I wonder if anybody else knows.
Like most people are interested in the hooks. I'd start by just trying to reproduce it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay.
All right. Anything else, Andrew?
Not from these, but like I don't know. Do we have time to discuss this like release cycle every 2 months rather than 3 months, or is it just a big can of worms we'd rather not open for now?
I'm feeling good about 3 months. It has its upsides and downsides, but I think it's worked pretty well for us.
I see.
I think it's also a matter of being aligned to Kubernetes release cycle and how often we impose upgrading on users. I think it's actually a pretty popular release cycle quarter.
I see.
Yeah. Okay. Yatin, you have your hand raised. You want to ask some questions? Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi everyone. I am Yatin. So actually, I am a new contributor here at Argo CD. This is my first community call. So actually, I would just like to ask that if I want to start contributing to Argo CD, can you please guide how should I proceed? Like previously, I have contributed to Keploy, which is a CNCF sandbox project. So like I am also taking up an issue. I will just share the link in chat. So this is the good first issue. I have commented over this. So can anyone please guide like how should I proceed with this?
Alex, since you created the issue, you recall it.
Uh,
You think
what's
this is
the
a good first issue for Yatin?
Yeah, I think that's a UI issue. Yeah, I don't think it's
Yeah, I have understood the issue and I will, probably create a PR by today or tomorrow for this. And if I
I
have
think
any doubt, yeah,
there's already someone that opened the PR.
Yes, and I actually reviewed part of it, I think.
Yeah.
The thing is, in that PR, one of the request is not covered. So if you want to take that, maybe. I think
You
it's the
reviewed the
first
other,
one.
you reviewed this one, Nitish?
Yep, I think I did. I think one of the portions was not covered.
Yeah, I see your comment here. So you're saying it's not fully covering the issue described originally?
Exactly.
Yeah, partial PR is fine though. I mean,
So maybe, yeah, go ahead, Michael, sorry.
well, I was just gonna say, like pulling down code, running it, reviewing, testing, that's also very helpful with stuff like this. We've got a ton of PRs that just need a little extra help to get across the finish line. So if you're up for that, that's also an awesome contribution.
And if there's something missing and maybe the original person who worked in the initial PR is not available anymore, maybe you can continue his work and conclude the remaining pieces that Nitish was referring to.
yeah, sure. I think in this PR, the person who has created he or she is going with the second option, and I think the first point is still not covered yet. So I will probably create a PR for that.
Okay. If those can be implemented independently, great. Mhm.
Yeah, definitely. And
Okay.
also,
Yes, go ahead.
I would just like to ask that while running Argo CD locally, I was trying to run with the command make start local. So actually, I'm facing an issue that I think my Gorman isn't installed in my device. But like, should I create an issue over the Gorman repo because I am facing some issues while installing this? Like while running, it's showing an error that Gorman is not found over my device.
Yeah, in recent projects, I'm not sure if it's there in Argo City, but I work in another Argo Proj labs, and we make sure that all CLI tools are automatically installed by while you're trying to run a make command. Maybe we need to just bring that to the Argo City repo as well. So if Gorman is not installed for you, it shouldn't be your job to manually go and pick up the version. You might pick up the wrong version that is not supported. So I think it's a good idea to have the tool, to have the make targets to install the required tools with the required version by itself, not dumping that on the on the collaborator. Yeah, I can point you to the project where we have that already working. Maybe we could just port that back to Argo CD.
Yeah, sure. I will, maybe we can discuss about this in the Slack channel.
Yeah,
I
cool. Feel
just
free to ping me on Slack. I can show you the link. Yes,
Yeah, sure.
Nitish?
I just want to add something. I think at KubeCon NA, I basically discussed with Leo and Michael about how do you run the debug, how do you debug and run the Argo CD locally. I think there was some discussion as well around that maybe we can have some meeting session that specifically revolves around how do you test and debug the Argo CD locally. I know this was never carried forward because we never discussed about it after the KubeCon NA, but I'm not sure if Michael or Leo, if you would be willing to take one specific meeting and then upload it to YouTube on how do you debug and run Argo CD locally to add a feature or say like fixing specific bugs.
Yeah, I'd be down, and even to record something persistent that we can share out, probably after KubeCon. But yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, I'll be glad to do something around that as well, Nitish. Yeah, I can definitely do it. Okay, and we are on time. Thanks everybody for participating in today's call, and see you all next week.
Thanks. See you.
Thanks everyone. Later.
Bye, y'all.